The very first real estate deal I ever closed actually came from an internet lead. I had been licensed about 2 weeks and had started selling real estate full time, and it was in July of 2012. And came across one of the leads that came in, and they were looking for a little bit of acreage that had just like an incredible view. Preferred it to have lake and mountain views, but if it only had one and it was really good, then they were okay with that. So we planned a trip. They came to town. I'm green. I'm brand new. I've only been selling real estate for 2 weeks, so I don't really know how to do this because that's not what they teach you in real estate school. So I talked to my broker, who was Lisa McBride with United Country Clinch Mountain Realty, and asked her, hey, can you come out with me with these people, kind of show me the ropes, teach me how I need to do this job? She was like, sure. So we went out, we looked at, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 pieces of property, and none of them were what these people were looking for. So they're kind of dejected and downhearted because they've made the trip up from Florida and they're not finding what they wanted. And Lisa said, well, I know about a piece of property and it's not listed, but I know the guy that owns it and I'm pretty sure he'd be open to selling it. Do you want me to call him? And they're like, sure. So she calls the guy and he's like, oh yeah, meet me over there. So it was 50 acres on the side of Clinch Mountain that was maybe a mile, half a mile from the Veterans Overlook up there. So you can imagine, if you're from here, the kind of view that this piece of property would have. So it had a gated driveway, and you went up maybe half a mile or so, and there was a little single wide on the property. So it already had a well, it already had a septic, and you had a single wide, and it had a pretty good view from there. But then the owner showed up with his 4-wheel drive, and he took them up what I called the goat trail, up the side of the mountain, more towards the top of the ridge. And that sold them on it. And so they wrote an offer on it. We had to go through the financing. 30 days later, they closed on it. So they came in for the closing, and after they closed, we went to Applebee's to celebrate. And those people have always just held a special place in my heart because they knew I was a new agent and they knew I didn't know what I was doing, but they let me assist them. They were very appreciative of the fact that I did bring in somebody who had more knowledge about it than I did to help them find that perfect piece. So if you're watching Byron and Susan, thank you again for letting me be your agent. They did build an absolutely gorgeous home up on the top of the ridge. About 3 or 4 years ago, they invited me to come up and see the place. And I'll be honest, I have never been anywhere that had a view like that house. I think you can see all the way over to North Carolina from there. And you can see like all of Cherokee Lake. And if you go like towards the dusk time and the lights are coming on, I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. And I'm just looking like I couldn't tell you what I was seeing as far as like what area of the lake or whatever. And they knew exactly what everything was. And it was pretty impressive. So that's the story of my first closing.